Welcome to Crucial Conversations. I'm your host, KD, and I'm here with my co-host.
Motor mouth.
Motormouth, how are you today?
I'm fine. I'm fine. How you doing?
I'm wonderful.
You gotta pick yourself up. You look like you ready to drop over there. Like you done had a hard night.
It's
What's
been a
going
rough
on?
evening. It's been a rough evening. But my morning has gotten better because we have a special guest.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, let our special guest introduce herself.
I'm Imani Ma'at, Dr. Imani Ma'at, and it is a pleasure to be here with you all today. I'm a health educator, health scientist, and
Mm-hmm.
worked at the Centers for Disease Control. Oops, am I allowed to say that? I
Yeah,
did.
Yeah,
Okay. I
yeah,
worked at
yeah.
CDC for
Yeah.
22 years. And I worked in
Wow.
HIV prevention programs. I worked
Oh,
in
okay.
chronic diseases.
Oh,
In
we're gonna have
fact,
a
I.
good talk
that's
with you
impressive.
today.
That's
Oh,
Yeah.
impressive.
thank you.
Uh,
Thank you.
so tell me exactly how did you get started into the line of work? I mean, your schooling, your background.
Well, I went to a chain of Ivy League schools. I don't
Mm-hmm.
need to say the names of them,
She's
but I
smart.
liked I liked school. It was
So you
fun.
was a bookworm.
I
She's smart.
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
I was
I
Okay.
I
like
was the
that.
class nerd in high school, but I had fun because I was still a cheerleader and I was in the band, and so I got to hang
All
out with the
right.
cool people, even though I was in the A plus classes.
Right.
But I I I actually, my first dream was to work on city health and city social issues, problems, and
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
community issues. So I got a master's in city planning from
Okay.
MIT.
Uh-huh.
And
MIT? You
the
go.
little
Yeah.
school up in
You go,
Massachusetts.
Doctor.
Yeah.
You are
And
smart. Wow, that's
Okay.
impressive.
well,
Very impressive.
I didn't stop there. And
Yeah.
so but that was good. But while I was there, I worked mainly on health,
Mm-hmm.
on educational
Yeah. Yeah.
planning issues.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually did a review of alternative schools designed to support African American children while I was
Okay.
there. And
Cool.
so while I was there doing that research, I found myself at the Harvard Ed School library most of the time. So I just stayed around for another year and got another master's from them.
Why am I
Okay.
not surprised,
Um,
Motorman?
I
Yeah.
don't. Well,
That's
it
nice though.
just
I
made
love it. I love it.
sense.
It
It just
does.
made sense.
I
You
love
know,
it though.
the only
I
thing that
love it.
didn't make sense is that I hate the cold, and there I am in
Okay. Yeah.
Massachusetts for like
I'm
most
from the
of
north, so
my.
I know what you mean by that cold.
I
As
hated
they say,
it.
the hawk when the wind blows, the
I
hawk hits you.
Boston,
I
Yeah.
cried through every
Massachusetts.
winter,
Yeah.
and I said, when I grow
Woo.
up, I'm moving south, which is
Okay.
probably why I live in Atlanta today.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So my first job out of
Right.
that
I was gonna
program
ask you that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
at that program at Harvard was working in a substance abuse clinic in
Wow.
New York City.
Okay.
And I did that for about a year,
Mm-hmm.
learned a lot, but I didn't really like it.
Right.
So I moved on. But
Okay.
after about maybe a year later, year and a half later, the person I worked with was running, had developed these
Okay.
HIV prevention
I got a
programs.
question to ask you about,
Hmm.
talking about substance abuse prevention in New York. I always wondered, did New York, which one had the worst condition, New York or Newark, New Jersey?
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. I think they were probably neck and neck.
You think
Okay,
so?
because
They
I
were
know,
probably,
yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
they
yeah,
were
I always wonder about that,
they were both pretty bad.
Okay.
But
Mm-hmm.
I just the whole concept of methadone maintenance was something that didn't sit right with me
Yeah.
because
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
found that we were substituting one drug for
For
another
another
drug,
one.
and I just it just didn't work for me. As much as
Mm-hmm.
I knew people had good hearts and they wanted to help folks on the streets and
Mm-hmm.
make changes in people's lives, I just thought there was
He said the
another way to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
pharmaceutical company was taking the people on the
Man,
street,
Mm-hmm.
well,
yeah, fighting for
there you
business, huh?
go. There you go. So
Yeah.
so anyway, the person I worked with in that environment invited me to come back and run a street outreach HIV prevention program,
Mm-hmm.
which I liked a lot better because we were educating people,
Mm-hmm.
active substance
Right.
abusers. My whole
Mm-hmm.
staff were people in recovery,
Mm-hmm.
so
That's
I
cool.
really got an education and
Mm-hmm.
learned a lot
Mm-hmm.
and enjoyed that. And and as the AIDS epidemic was growing around us,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
at
Okay.
leaps and bounds in New York, I still had this thing in my head that I hated the cold and wanted to
Right.
move south. So in my naivete, I called up the Centers for Disease Control and said, "Can I speak to the head of the AIDS program?" And they put me through.
Yeah.
And they said, "How fast can you get here?" Because CDC was at the point of looking at the spread of HIV among African Americans, among
Right.
substance abusers, and the whole package among Hispanics.
Okay, I got a question to ask you. I don't know if you can answer this or not. I'm just curious.
Mm-hmm.
You know how they do, different type of experiments and different things. Is
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta a testing ground?
Oh no, I knew he was gonna go there. Dr.
I don't know.
Because
I don't know.
we had a
And
conversation. KD and I had a conversation.
We got a show
Mhm.
based around.
Right.
Have you heard about the highest? Well, they claim that one of the highest HIV records going on right now, as far as population, is in Atlanta with
Really?
black women. Uh-huh.
Right.
And it was
Well, I
kinda
know it's still a
Yeah.
problem, but
Yeah.
I next question. We're gonna
pass that one.
we're gonna skip
Yeah.
over that one
Yeah.
because
Because this is just a big issue, for black people in
mhm.
the city. Just curious.
It's
Yeah.
still a major issue,
Yeah.
and that's one of the things that led me to my work with youth is that I said, we can continue working with adults and trying to, because I'm a behavioral scientist, and we
Okay.
can continue to try to change behaviors of adults,
Mhm.
or we can go downstream or upstream,
I know what
Right. I
when
know.
they're throwing the
Yeah.
babies into the water,
Right.
Yeah.
and they're coming
Yeah.
downstream. We
Right.
can go upstream and really make a difference. If we
Mm-hmm.
teach young people and
Right.
really give them a healthy sense of self-esteem, self-confidence, belief in themselves, help them to get on their purpose in life,
Mhm.
then we don't have to worry about changing behaviors of adults.
Yeah.
Right.
And that
Yeah.
thought has always been an
Because they sooner or later
underlying.
be adults and
Yes.
have good practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds more
Right.
like prevention.
Right.
Right. I mean,
It's
real
like
prevention.
Right.
Real
Makes sense.
prevention means
Yeah.
educating and preventing the bad behaviors and stuff from even happening.
Right. Well, that make a lot of sense
does.
because if not, just looking at the ideal that if they're in a house or in an environment, this is all that they're getting, and they're not getting no type of support on the ground root level,
Right.
they just going to
Right.
continue that bad practice and don't know nothing else.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
right,
Right.
And
It's
so-
the norm for 'em.
right.
So two things that are important in this story is that throughout my life I've been writing poetry and just sort of shoving it in the corner, or just as things occur or I'm in certain circumstances, I would write poetry about it because that would help for me to kind of digest what I was seeing or witnessing or whatever. Times I was in South Africa, there's a beautiful poem that I wrote about this woman that I saw outside of an AIDS clinic.
KD,
Wow.
But-
we got to put her on the spot.
What's that?
We do.
Yeah, you got to recite one of your poems for us.
Oh, well,
I bet
I'll
she's
tell you.
good.
I'll tell you the one that I was about to describe to you.
But I want
About-
the follow up to the story about the lady in South Africa.
This is a poem about the lady in South Africa on a
Right.
gurney outside of an AIDS clinic.
Wow.
I just
On
need
the
to.
gurney outside of a
Well,
house.
because the clinic, probably the waiting room probably comfortably held about 20, 30 people, and there were about 150 people in there.
Wow.
It was about 100 degrees, and
Wow.
there was no room, and she was very, very frail and very, very weak, and she was laying on this gurney outside the clinic in the sun.
Wow.
And my heart just went out to her. I was with a group of people. We were looking at HIV and TB clinics throughout South Africa, and just we were staying at a hotel, and across from the hotel was a cemetery. And we left early in the morning every morning to go out and visit these clinics, and came back in the evening, and there were always more grave sites from when we had
Okay,
left
so
in the
that-
morning.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
And one of the clinics that we went to had signs up about one-stop shopping. It's like get everything there, everything
I
that
hope
you
you're not
need.
gonna say
So no, it's all in the poem. So
Right.
this helps to explain some of the
That's deep.
things, some of the imagery in the poem.
Okay.
But anyway, this is called Tears from My Sister. And there was a time I could not get through this poem without.
I can imagine.
Yeah,
Right.
so I'm okay
If I
now.
had been there, I can
Yeah,
imagine.
yeah. But anyway, it's called Tears from My Sister.
Mhm.
She had no face, she had no name. Her arms like sticks, her legs the same. I felt her pain, though probably long gone. I felt the stain of a country war-torn. AIDS and TB in South Africa, epidemic proportions for real. Hasn't anyone told them that these preventable diseases no one should still feel? The cemetery across from our hotel expands in proportion to the growing epidemic. Outside the clinic, a sign reads, "One-stop funeral shopping." How convenient. Had only the treatment for AIDS and TB been as convenient, had only the doctors been plentiful, and the natural herb of South Africa, Sutherlandia, not been pirated and sold to countries other than the one from which it originated. The babies cry, the mommies and daddies die, the grandmothers try to take on the weight. Aunties also do what they can to keep nieces and nephews alive. How I wanted to reach out to her and give her some hope, yet her spirit was already somewhere else. Her joy was gone, her hope was gone, her pain was gone. She just was. Too weak to stand, too weak to hurt, too weak to cry, too weak to die. In my heart, I hope that she has passed on, as that is no way to live.
That's nice.
Oh.
And I mean, I could feel you, I mean, your actual experience, that had to
Yeah.
be something really to witness,
Yeah, it
I
was.
like
That's a serious
That's
battleground.
nice.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
in
That's
so
nice.
many ways.
Mhm.
Politically, we met with there was
Wow.
a natural healer, Dr. Credo. Well, I call him Doctor
Mhm.
Baba Credo Mutua.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's a traditional healer. He's just a phenomenal person, and I've had a chance to sit at his knees twice in South Africa and just let him tell his story about the
Mhm.
work that they had done in South Africa, and he talked with us about the herb
Right.
Sutherlandia and how
Okay.
they had discovered that it had properties to help people, not
And what's the name
necessarily
of the herb again?
Sutherlandia,
Sutherland.
Okay.
and it
Okay.
not necessarily to heal, but it helped so many people in terms of the symptoms of HIV and AIDS, and maybe it did heal. Who am I to say that it didn't?
Right.
But
Mhm.
he talked about the attack on his family.
Hmm.
One of I think his wife had been operated on, and they intentionally left something inside of her, an instrument, and it
Right.
killed her.
Okay.
Whoa.
I think he talked about his son being murdered because they were having so much
With
success
success.
in terms of working with people with HIV and
Hmm.
specifically with that herb. He talked about how it was pirated from them
Hmm.
and taken to other countries in Asia and Southern Asia
I was
to help
wondering.
people there with
Right.
HIV
Now,
and
did
I
they
was
AIDS.
make it
wondering
like
about that herb.
illegal for them to use it? Because I know in some of the indigenous country, how
Hmm.
there was a big lawsuit going on from the way they have come in and took their medicine or their herbs and
Yeah, I
different
don't I
things.
don't know if they
Hmm.
made that particular one illegal, but they took it.
Mm-hmm.
So they took
Right.
it out. They didn't manufacture it in South
Right.
Africa to
Huh.
help South African
Mm-hmm.
people. It was
Mhm.
more profitable for them to sell it for millions of dollars
Right.
to people with money in other
Mm-hmm.
countries.
Right.
Because
So,
Now
I know,
I'm
like,
wondering, like
speaking about
pharmaceutical
that,
companies and everything.
like what you're saying, the
Yeah.
pharmaceutical companies and everything. Um, the Berry is a good example of that. How they have made it, they outlawed it where the people
oh,
in South,
acai. Okay,
okay,
okay.
and they outlawed it where they could not use it no
What?
longer.
Mm,
And they had in world court, they was trying to sue the pharmaceutical companies from like United States over in
mm-hmm.
Europe and
Hmm.
everything for coming in there and
And,
patenting what
and
they've been doing for
patenting.
centuries.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Uh huh.
Right.
Yeah, it's just a shame what happens to poor people
Mm-hmm.
globally.
Right.
It's like those with money and those with
Right.
resources, they take. They
Oh yeah.
Right.
take and take and take
Oh yeah.
to the detriment,
Mm-hmm.
of indigenous people and people who discover something like an herb that works
Right.
effectively, you know, on HIV and AIDS. I had, on a previous trip to that in South Africa, had a chance to meet with some other traditional healers, and it's just amazing, you know, what they did. I mean, they would throw these bones, and they would know by how the bones felt, whether how they laid, whether how they landed, whether someone had HIV or not.
Yeah.
You know, and it's
Okay.
like there was
Were
no
they
question. I mean,
accurate most of the time?
this was their science.
Wow.
You know, and there was no question to it. And since then,
Right.
I've met medical doctors from the U.S. who've gone and been trained
Right. Okay.
by them and who work with the traditional healers, because, you know, who are we to go into an area and say that people don't know
Exactly.
what
Right.
they're doing? And you have the masses who rely on these traditional healers
It's true.
for everything.
I know
You
I
know?
ran into a couple of my days in time, a couple of Jafaris, and they have been fascinating. You know,
Amazing.
the medicine, you know what they can do.
What they do with the
Right.
plants. I mean, they're botanists, you know, they're herbalists, botanists, and they know exactly how to live with nature, how to use nature to heal
Okay.
everything. And there's nothing new under the sun.
Right.
You know,
Okay. Well, I got a question to ask you. You know, speaking about South Africa, I I was just curious. Now, is the doggone tribe from South Africa, part of South Africa? Or are you familiar with the doggone?
I want to say they're from West Africa, but don't quote me on that because
Okay.
I don't know.
But you know about
But I
them.
know about the doggone.
Okay.
tribe.
Share a little bit about that, you know, their history, you know, because also, like you were saying, science. Okay, you know. But yeah, I agree with what they do, you know, the science and everything, you know, and everything. But getting back to the point of something that you said earlier that was interesting, you said talked about the children, because KD and I also work with, you know, youth. You know.
Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about Yes for Health.
Okay.
And how that was.
Yeah, so I'm gonna ask you about that.
But I still like to have her back. I would love to hear more about South Africa.
Yeah.
Oh,
I just find
okay,
it
Yeah.
okay.
fascinating. Yeah.
I would then. I
Yeah.
would love to share it because
But
it
in the
has.
meanwhile, what are you doing now? I mean, what's going on
So
with you?
even while I was at CDC, you
Right.
know, and I had this passion to work with youth and to go upstream, you know, like I said, I was really interested in it. I had seen how theater had been used to educate young people about HIV and AIDS and other things, and I said, you know, I think that's what I want to be when I grow up. I want to have a theater program. I want to have kids performing and dancing on pianos and, you know, telling stories about
Exactly.
like that.
about health issues, including HIV, that will empower themselves as health educators and also empower the children who are listening to them, to their audiences. And I was introduced to a brother, Mr. Gary Ogden, who was born on the same day as me,
Okay.
2 years earlier. But we both had this same dream of starting a teen theater program, so we did. Yes
Right.
for Health, and
Karma.
he's a brilliant attorney. We got our 501c3 on one try.
Wow.
He just
So
filled
it
out
was
the
meant to be.
he filled out the paperwork.
It
We
was
got
meant
it,
to be.
and and we did a major production on, and there's a lot more to that story, but we did a major production on diabetes called Drive Through Justice, which is
Okay.
like our signature play. We still get asked for that play to this day.
Yeah. Okay.
Had a lot of really good, it's all educational, but there's comedy in it, there's music, there's dancing, there's a funeral scene because one of the main characters dies of complications of diabetes.
So it's like
Powerful.
you're teaching through entertainment.
Absolutely.
Right.
I like it.
Edutainment.
I like
And
it.
we're not the first ones to
Edutainment, I like that.
edutainment. We're not the first ones to use that though. There's a
Yeah.
group
like
called
that.
Me Productions out of Philadelphia that's been used in that. They're really, really good at what they do.
I like that.
But we did HIV. We did the diabetes play. We did a wonderful HIV production. Had one student who created a dance, you know, depicting a young girl who found out that her boyfriend in high school was HIV positive, and
Okay.
but it's all educational about how
Sounds
he.
exciting.
It does.
Yeah. So we've had probably over 300 youth that have come through Yes for Health, whether they
Okay.
stayed for a week or a month or a semester or a year. The problem with us is that we've always gotten the cream of the crop students who are doing 10 other things.
Exactly.
They're in all the
Busy,
sports
busy,
programs,
right.
they're in music, they're in this, they're in that, they're with their
Everything.
churches.
Right.
So, you know, we're like begging for them to make us a priority. But in spite of that, we've had some really good successes. We've had kids move on. We had one that was in an episode of a Tyler Perry show.
Okay.
We have one young man who graduated. He's about 14, and I think he's a junior at Morehouse College right
Okay.
now.
Impressive.
He was
Yeah.
brilliant before he
Right.
came to us.
Mhm.
But I've heard him speak about Yes for Health and how it helped to give him voice,
Right.
and how he was real quiet and shy
Right.
before he got with us, and we made him get up on stage.
Gave him
So,
confidence.
open him
And
up.
absolutely, absolutely.
Exactly.
We've had kids get into college just because we wrote recommendations based on the growth that we saw in them. You know,
Exactly.
we took youth to the
To the next level.
to the next level. But I was going to say
Exactly.
specifically, we took a group of youth to Anguilla in the British West Indies
Okay.
on a health study
cool.
tour a couple
That was
summers
cool.
ago.
Yeah, I remember that. I was supposed to do the video production.
That's when I
saw.
met you.
Right,
That's
yeah.
right. That's
I
right.
remember that one.
That's right. Never too
Yeah.
late.
Wow.
It's not too
Yeah.
late.
See, I
It's
missed
not too
it.
late. No, but
Yeah.
That is
we've
awesome. I like the program.
we've
Yeah.
had, we've done a lot of volunteer work in the community, Meals on Wheels type programs,
like that.
volunteer things, because we wanted the young people, we wanted to instill a sense of community and giving back and helping out and being connected
Well, I
to
know-
the
Way
whole.
around it. I like
Yeah,
that.
well, I know you're tight on your time, and we got to ask you back. But before you leave, share a little bit about this bullying initiative that you got going on. Exactly what you plan on doing with that inside, Atlanta market that might be able to be shared. You say you're going to take that across the country?
Nationwide.
Nationwide,
Okay.
probably international by the time we get finished, because I have
Okay.
friends around the globe at this
Right.
point. But first of all, the second phase of Yes for Health that we started is called the Healthy Haiku series. And I've written 2 books.
Poetry,
One
I
is
like
a mentoring program, a mentoring training that teaches mentors how to teach healthy haiku. Haiku is an ancient form of Japanese poetry. It uses 17 syllables to tell a story very concisely. And we use it to talk about health issues. Here's one off the top of my head about 2 friends who get into a dispute, and when he pulled back his fist, he stared at the lifeless face of his best friend. And that was 17 syllables, believe
Right.
it or
Wow.
not. But
It had a major impact.
yeah,
Oh,
you
yeah.
think about it, and I remember after writing that, maybe 2 or 3 months later, I saw that same story on the 6 o'clock news about 2 kids who got in. They were best friends, and the
Right.
guy hit him in the temple, and that was it. So, but we teach. Through this series, we do workshops. We go out to schools and churches and so forth to teach about health issues, full curriculum with HIV, substance abuse, alcoholism, violence, mental health issues. But all of it is about self-esteem and building
Okay,
self-esteem.
right.
So
This is nice.
Yeah,
What
the
we're-
youth of today really need that.
Yeah, I noticed
Yeah.
you have something about obesity because I'm thinking
Obesity,
about Michelle Obama and
nutrition,
her current
absolutely.
obesity program.
thank you for mentioning that.
This
That is
very
important.
Nice.
Yeah.
And
Sex
so
education is in here. Everything: smoking, drinking, drug use, building self-esteem. This is very
all of
nice.
that. Thank
Very
you.
nice.
Thank you so much. And so
Very
we're, the next level of the Healthy Haiku workshops, we're looking at doing what we're calling power clubs in
Okay.
schools around Atlanta and around the country, with the point of, again, building self-esteem and really doing away with bullying. I mean,
Okay.
it's a lofty
Right.
goal,
Yeah.
but if we have kids
It would be
engaged,
nice.
if we have kids engaged in something positive, and it's the club that's getting all of the attention,
Right.
we got celebrities coming in
Exactly.
to encourage them and to talk
also
to them
motivate 'em. Yeah,
and
right.
to motivate them. We have them performing, we have them getting scholarships and all kind of fun things. The bullies are going to want to be part of the club too.
Right.
It's like we want to be part of that too, as
Right.
opposed to kids joining bully clubs just to just to be
Right.
protected.
Exactly.
Right.
You know, that kind of like reverse psychology.
Absolutely.
Because, 'cause one of the
Absolutely.
things in bullying like an emotional bullying is the idea how groups of children to get together and then alienate one of the, the child that they're bullying. Yeah, right. So, yeah,
so that's really nice. The concept is taking the nerds, and making them the in crowd, and making people want to be friends with them.
Really suffer from emotional bullying, right?
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of that going on. There's cyberbullying, which is taking place on the computers and texting and the phone and all of that. So there's so many different forms in addition to being punched and kicked on and
with physical,
the physical stuff. So
and one of the biggest thing is verbal.
Right.
Even a lot of parents is guilty of that just from the way they speak to their children.
Sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can break my heart.
Yeah.
They really do. They really do. So we're going to be addressing all of that. We're so excited, and we're going to use a internet radio platform to basically chronicle the development of these of the power clubs, the Yes Power Clubs. So we're this is a new phase for us. We're very, very excited. We look forward to coming back and speaking with you again, maybe bringing some of the youth with us.
I look forward to having you back because this, especially with the idea that you're going to take this on a national level, I really like this program and it's needed.
Oh, absolutely.
And along the line of bullying, there's so much that's going on now. I don't want to say the recent thing is, but the most popular thing that I've noticed in the media lately has been people that have been bullied because of their sexuality.
Absolutely.
Which we know is another problem. We have so many problems right now with children. It's really ridiculous. But a lot of kids have actually been committing suicide.
Oh, I know.
Been being bullied.
I know.
Cyberbullied, bullied in school. It's just really out of control.
All of that stuff. So it is so needed, and we want to. We want to get a lot of attention. We want the media to be on this. We want celebrities to be on this. We want to be that magnet that pulls everyone in that wants to do something good. This is a phenomenal opportunity to do something good.
Well, I know we feel blessed that you're going to be part of the DNA family.
Well, good. Thank you.
We're put the plug in there. Exactly. You get a chance to hear Dr.
Because she's coming back.
Yeah, she's coming back on our show, Crucial Conversation. But plus, she's also going to hold her own show on the DNA Media Communication on the network.
All right.
So, yeah, we looking forward to it. So y'all going to have a real treat there.
Yeah, we're so excited.
I'm going to do my best to get the word out because this is an awesome program.
Thank you so much.
It's really needed.
Thank you,
and
K.D.
We really appreciate you coming in, stopping today. I know you didn't have no idea of doing the interview.
I didn't, but I've
had to put you on the spot.
I've learned to be prepared even when I'm not prepared. But thank you so much for this. I look forward to it.
And we appreciate you.
All right, thank you.
Well, if you guys have any questions or comments or suggestions for our special guest, Dr. Imani, M.I.T. Am I saying your last name right?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
M.I.T. You were close.
I think I had M.I.T. in my mind. I was still stuck on
M.I.T. and M.I.T. just kind of blended together. That was a good save.
I call her Dr. Imani.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
But anyway, we appreciate you stopping by, and we will have you back. I'd love to have you back.
All right. I look forward to it. Exactly. I do look forward to it. Thanks so much.
And we'll be back after these messages.
You're listening to Thomasville, North Carolina's best gospel station, WEOM 103.1 FM.
Katie, I got businesses, organizations, and groups calling us and asking how can they get their message to our Crucial Conversation audience.
Well, Motormouth, it's really easy. If you have a service or a product or an event that you would like to share with the Crucial Conversation audience, just email us. We can be located at radio@DNAdigitalmediagroup.com. That's radio, RADIO, at D as in David, N as in Nancy, A as in Apple, digitalmediagroup.com for details. We look forward to hearing from you.
The Super Friends. So much confusion